Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into a new era of health. We're talking about a world that's focused not just on living longer, but on living better for longer. This is all about the science and the strategy behind building your own personal longevity protocol.
And this vision from Peter Diamandis, it really sets the stage perfectly. You see, the technologies being built right now, especially in AI, they're not just about making our phones faster. They're creating the very foundation to solve humanity's biggest, thorniest problems. And one of the biggest is aging itself. This is the backdrop for what many are calling the Healthspan revolution, a time where we can actually actively engineer our own longevity.
And you know, that revolution really starts with one critical distinction. For decades, the whole conversation has been about lifespan, just the total number of years you're alive. But the new paradigm, the real game changer, is healthspan. That's the number of years you live in excellent health, full of vitality, and free from chronic disease. The goal is shifting from simply adding years to your life to adding life to your years. So, how do we actually do that? Let's break down the pillars. Okay, so it all starts with what is probably the most powerful and, honestly, the most overlooked organ for longevity, your skeletal muscle. And no, it's not just for lifting heavy things. Think of it as the very engine of your metabolic health. Right, let's really get into this concept. It's called muscle-centric medicine, and it's being championed by experts like Dr. Gabriel Lyon. This idea completely reframes how we should be looking at our bodies. It treats muscle not as passive tissue, but as the command center for our well-being. It's an active organ that literally communicates with and regulates the rest of our systems. So here's the crucial point. Healthy muscle isn't just about strength or how you look. It's about deep, systemic, metabolic health. Your muscles act like a giant sponge for glucose, helping to keep your blood sugar stable. They influence your cholesterol levels, and they can dramatically lower inflammation. As we get older, losing muscle is a direct path to all sorts of metabolic problems, which is exactly why maintaining it is your #1 line of defense. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because we have different types of muscle fibers for different jobs. Your type 1 fibers, those are for endurance. You train them with zone 2 cardio. You know, that steady state exercise where you can still hold a conversation. But your type 2 fibers, the ones for strength and raw power, they atrophy so much faster as we age. And guess what? The only way to preserve them is through strength training. This shows you exactly why a balanced routine isn't just a suggestion, it's absolutely non-negotiable for longevity.
Okay, so if muscle is our engine, what's the fuel? Well, the next critical piece of the puzzle is protein. This is the high-octane fuel that's absolutely required to build, to maintain, and to repair that all-important engine. For decades, this number right here, 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, this has been the standard recommendation. It's what you'd hear from pretty much every official source. But here's the massive paradigm shift. As Dr. Lyon points out, the RDA was never designed for an optimal, thriving life. It's the bare minimum required to prevent you from getting a protein deficiency disease. It's about survival, not optimization. It completely ignores the needs of active people who actually want to build and protect their muscle to extend their health span. And this just brilliantly illustrates the difference. The real science now points to a range that's closer to 1.4 to 2.5 grams per kilogram for anyone who's active and focused on longevity. I mean, for a 200-pound person, that's a gigantic leap from the RDA's 72 grams to a minimum of 127 grams per day. That is a fundamental change in how we should be fueling our bodies. And it's not just about the total grams of protein, it's about the quality. See, protein is made up of amino acids, and those are the real building blocks. An amino acid called leucine, for example, is the primary signal that tells your body to kickstart muscle protein synthesis. That's the process of repair and growth. And lysine is crucial for maintaining our connective tissues. The formula is actually pretty simple. Resistance training creates the stimulus, and a high-quality protein diet provides the materials for your body to literally rebuild itself stronger than before.
So the key takeaway here, the real pro tip, is how you distribute that protein. To keep that muscle-building signal switched on throughout the day, the goal is to hit a target of 30 to 50 grams of high-quality protein with each meal. That consistency is what keeps the engine running smoothly. Okay, let's zoom back out for a second. Because all of our personal efforts, all the hard work in the gym and the kitchen, are about to be supercharged by some absolutely incredible technological advancements that are happening right now. And I promise you, this isn't science fiction. This is a real-world example of rejuvenation biotechnology. As we age, the density of our tiny blood vessels, our capillaries, declines. This basically starves our tissues of oxygen and nutrients. Well, a therapy like this delivers the genetic code for a protein called VEGF, which stimulates the growth of new blood vessels. It essentially upgrades your body's entire internal delivery system, fighting age-related decline at a really fundamental level. And make no mistake, the race to build this future is already a global priority. The country that controls the AI infrastructure is going to have a massive economic and strategic advantage for the next century, because this is the tech that will solve these complex biological problems. As you can see here, longevity is officially a new geopolitical battleground.
So we've covered the engine, we've covered the fuel, and we've seen the incredible future upgrades on the horizon. But how do you put all of this together and actually apply it to your own life right now?
All right, so this brings us to what is maybe the most crucial point of all. There is no magic pill. There is no single protocol that works for everyone. Your genetics, your personal goals, your lifestyle, they all dictate your unique path. The real power is in becoming the champion of your own life by learning these principles and then personalizing them. When you really boil down all the wisdom from the leading longevity experts, these universal truths start to emerge. Personalization is everything. Metabolic health, which is driven by muscle, is the absolute foundation. Aligning with your circadian rhythm through things like light exposure and meal timing is critical for your hormones. Managing stress is non-negotiable. And finally, shifting your focus away from what you have to lose, like weight, and onto what you have to gain, like healthy muscle, that is the ultimate mindset shift. Use these as your guideposts. Ultimately, we are moving into an era where our health is becoming less a matter of chance and more a matter of choice. The knowledge and the tools are increasingly being placed right in our hands. So the only question left is, what are you going to build for yourself? Thanks for joining this explainer.